This is a really sort of big picture question, but over the years, I've heard a number of different members of your team refer to your kind of philosophy in foreign affairs as realism. Is that a term you would use?
You know, traditionally, a lot of American foreign policy has been divided into the realist camp and the idealist camp. And so if you're an idealist, you're like Woodrow Wilson, and you're out there with the League of Nations and imagining everybody holding hands and singing Kumbaya and imposing these wonderful rules that everybody's abiding by. If you're a realist, then you're supporting dictators who happen to be our friends, and you're cutting deals and solely pursuing the self-interest of our country as narrowly defined. I just don't think that describes what a smart foreign policy should be. I think it is realistic for us to want to use diplomacy for setting up a rules-based system wherever we can, understanding that it's not always going to work. If we have arms treaties in place, it doesn't mean that you don't have a stray like North Korea that may try to do its own thing, but you've reduced the number of problems that you have in the security and defense challenges that you face if you can create those norms. And one of the great things about American foreign policy in the post-World War II era was we did a pretty good job with that. It wasn't perfect, but the UN and the IMF and a whole host of treaties and rules and norms that were established really helped to stabilize the world in ways that it wouldn't otherwise be. Now, I also think that if we were just resorting to that and we didn't have a realistic view that there are bad people out there who are trying to do us harm, and we've got to have the strongest military in the world, and we occasionally have to twist the arms of countries that wouldn't do what we need them to do if it weren't for the various economic or diplomatic or in some cases military leverage that we had. If we didn't have that dose of realism, we wouldn't get anything done either. So what I do think is accurate in describing my foreign policy is a strong belief that we don't have military solutions to every problem in the 21st century. We don't have a peer in terms of a state that's going to attack us, invade us. The closest we have obviously is Russia with its nuclear arsenal, but generally speaking, they can't project the way we can around the world. China can't either. We spend more on our military than the next 10 countries combined. The biggest challenge that we have right now is disorder. Failed states, asymmetric threats from terrorist organizations. And what I've been trying to do is to make sure that over the course of the last 6 years and hopefully the next 2, we just have more tools in our toolkit to deal with the actual problems that we have now and that we can project into the future, rather than just constantly relying on the same tools that we used when we were dealing with Germany and Japan in World War II.